Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed. And they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth partying with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Little roller up along first. Behind the fence. It gets stopped there. Here comes Knight and the Knicks winning.
See you in Pittsburgh.
Can't wait. All the fans is out of the field. He's going to go into the end zone. Looking, throwing in the end zone.
You're tuned into Game On with Josh Silverberg. Talking all things sports. It's
Game on! Yeah, game on!
Game On, right here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Happy Thursday to all of you here on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is Game On, flying solo tonight. Look at my logo. Eric's not even there. No, he'll be back on the logo next week, right, Speedy? Oh, yeah. He will be there just for tonight. There's no Eric on that logo.
Disappearing act for 1 week.
Speedy just wanted to have the logo there once because...
I'm surprised it was still on the computer.
Yeah, just wanted it once and everything of that nature. We love Eric. We know that. He's part of it. I didn't even ask Speedy surprise, and we weren't going to change it because it was like 10 seconds before the show anyway. 631-672-3108 is the number to call. Stefon Diggs doing some Trucy. Why is it a bad look for him and his new team with the New England Patriots? The NHL Stanley Cup, half of it is already done. And just as I predicted, I should say, the Florida Panthers are back. WorldWideSportsRadio.com, YouTube, Instagram, Periscope, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Job in the Mouth, of course, have their own TikTok. And you can check out Job in the Mouth at 7:30 with Errol Marks, Aaron Fishman, Speedy Petey, Jabba Chamberlain, and Tommy Scoops. Are we calling him Scoops or is it Poop still?
Either one is fine.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. But we begin with the NBA, and we will talk about, Snug, if you want to call on the show, 631-672-3108 is the number to call. There he is. So, a lot to discuss. Congratulations to the Oklahoma City Thunder for running roughshod through the Minnesota Timberwolves. Lack thereof, of course, Speedy P on the board. Speedy, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm nervous about the end of the Knicks season coming up, possibly soon.
He's Snug, that's why you say dumb things. Oh, God. And now,
Jeff's still confident.
God.
Jeff's still confident, everybody.
But the Oklahoma City Thunder have won the Western Conference. Easy peasy. They now move on, and they will face the winner of the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers. And really, when it comes down to it, it's a couple of things in regards to what the Oklahoma City Thunder are. And we'll get to the Knicks Pacers. I know it's a conversation everybody wants to talk about. But in regards to where the Oklahoma City Thunder are, defense. And, of course, they have one of the best players in the league in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who I believe would be the fourth player in NBA history to win a scoring title, an MVP, and an NBA championship if it happens. So that would be fascinating to watch. But basically what we shared last night, and it's not even more about the conversation of what the Oklahoma City Thunder did, Speedy. It's more or less what Anthony Edwards did in this series.
He did stuff.
And that's the thing. It's a matter of where we're at with some fans are saying, oh, he's going to ask out of Minnesota. He's not going to want to be there, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, listen, he did go to 2 conference titles. He didn't win them, but he went to them unexpectedly both times.
Yeah.
They were not the favorites. Julius Randle actually played pretty decently yesterday.
Yep.
It was Anthony Edwards was the problem. And Anthony Edwards has this moxie about him. He talks the talk, but sometimes he doesn't always walk the walk when it comes to big games. And we saw in this series with him. Now, Oklahoma City is a different breed, right? We can all agree. They're a different type of brand of basketball because they have it on the offensive side and on the defense side. I think they have also like 4. I was talking with Errol and Keith before the show. I think Keith said they have like 4 first-round picks or whatever it is coming up.
Yeah, they still have some left, I think, the end of the Clippers trade, and then they had one from that random trade they made with the Nuggets last year.
Yeah, so when you look at it, they're only going to get better. I'm sure the Thunder are probably thinking, how can we get any worse? I'm sure there's going to be superstars that are going to want to come and play for the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's more so, if you're the Oklahoma City Thunder, do you want to do like what the Phoenix Suns did where they were building it properly? Or do you want to just bet the whole gamut, as they say, throw it all out there, and put a Kevin Durant on your team and just mess up the whole thing? And I would think the Phoenix Suns lesson is the one that's got to be learned, correct? This is where basically the barometer has to be, which is where the Phoenix Suns were building this thing with Bridges. And yes, that Mikal Bridges. Of course, Devin Booker and everybody else. And they had on that team with all the depth they had. And they traded it for Kevin Durant with the Brooklyn Nets. And it's a disaster now. And Durant's going to have a new home. They're not going to be able to trade Bradley Beal because nobody's going to want that contract. And poor Devin Booker is sitting there wasting the talent away. So, and the Indiana Pacers, by the way, are going to have the same thing. Like, Shams Charania from ESPN, we know this. He's the new Woj, right? Like, he has said there are superstars that are wanting to play now in Indiana. And if you're the Pacers, do you want to trade all the talent and what you've built to get a superstar in here? And it's a really, like I said, I would take the Phoenix Suns lesson out of it and say, maybe building it this way is the proper way to do it. We build from the draft. We get pieces that can fit where we need them to fit, like a Pascal Siakam. The Tyrese Halliburton trade fell into the lap. Sabonis was not a bad player.
Nope.
It just, one is just proceeded more than the other. And again, I've said this time and time again, I want the Tyrese Halliburton on the Knicks. When the draft happened, they drafted Obi Toppin, and I was annoyed about that.
Now on the Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, exactly. They traded him for, I think, a second-round pick.
Second-round pick, I think, maybe this year or something.
I mean, it's really crazy how... But that's the dilemma, I think, the Oklahoma... But that's obviously not the thought that they're going to have right now, is they're not going to be thinking about where they're at for the offseason. They're thinking about the now. I forget what the betting odds are. I know they're already heavy favorites against either. Snug, I know what you're doing. He's Arsenal. He's doing it. It's a matter of with Oklahoma City. I would keep building it the way they're doing it, because here's the thing: if you're gonna get a superstar in here, you're gonna have to probably trade a Williams, right?
Yeah.
You might have to trade a Chet Holmgren, and you're going to trade a lot of your picks. I like the way the Thunder are doing this. And the thing is, the Thunder are a young team, so they're going to be good for a long time. This is not just a one and done. Now, we said that about the Denver Nuggets, but I think it's a little bit different with the Thunder because they have assets in the future for their draft that are going to make them better. And I forget what the odds are.
So it looks like if the Pacers it's minus 750 overall, and like individually, if it's them and the Pacers, minus 770.
Yeah, it's not even close. The Thunder are heavy favorites. In regards to whoever they play, whether it's the Knicks or the Pacers, it doesn't matter. And it's crazy because the Denver Nuggets took OKC to 7 games, and you wonder now, was Denver the second best team in that conference? The seeding fell the way it fell, and they had a rough road game. They couldn't win in Oklahoma City, and they lost. My question is, will Indiana, or if it happens, New York, even give a fight to OKC? Indiana is interesting to me. And people are saying you're crazy. I think Oklahoma's going to easily run through this. No problem. My thought process is with OKC. I think Indiana actually has now. I'm going to say this now. The Knicks, to me, their starting 5, when you look at it on paper, is better, right? The Pacers have the much better depth. And it's helped. And the coach. It's helped. That's why I think Indy maybe could give OKC a run for its money. The problem with Indiana is they don't play great defense. That's the problem. OKC does. And that's where I think everybody is sleeping on Indiana. But the thing of it is that OKC has so much depth on the offensive side, on the defensive side. They're a pesky team, Indiana. But it's also, I don't think they're going to be able to win in OKC in that environment. And the size, too, for OKC is very different. It's huge. Yeah. Now, they've gone through the Knicks one with Towns and Robinson at times. It's very different with Holmgren and Hartenstein, who the Knicks we know. And we know he wanted to go back to the Knicks. But it looks like he made the right call going to OKC. Not by choice, I view this whole thing with OKC as I don't know who's beating them. I'm not sure who's beating them. I was thinking a couple of days ago, I said maybe Indiana could give them a fight. But the issue is with Indiana, they don't have the depth enough. They have good depth, not enough to beat the Thunder. I don't think anybody does. If the Knicks play the Thunder, they'll get wallywhopped in that series. I'd be shocked if it went past 5 games. So to me, I think this is the Thunder's championship to lose, and this is going to be a long stretch for the Thunder. I think they're going to dominate for a long time. I think they're a young team. They got the coaching. They got the structure. They got everything. And they have the superstar. And they have the right superstar in SGA. That's what it all comes down to. And I know the guys are going to discuss on the show later at 7:30 more about it. But like I said, I don't know who's going to take over what the Thunder are doing because they're building this the proper way. Other than Hartenstein, and obviously they did the trade for Caruso, they haven't brought in any major players. They've done it all through the draft, right? That's how they built it.
And the Paul George trade.
Well, that helped immensely. That's what I'm saying. The Paul George trade screwed them up and they said, you know what, we'll do this trade with the Clippers, or right, it was the Clippers, and they're reaping the benefits. And you wonder, will Indiana do the same thing? Because I don't think Indiana has a superstar. I think they have it's such a complicated conversation about Halliburton because is he a star? Is he a superstar? Is he just a very good player? What is he? And we'll get to the Knicks Pacers series right now. And there's a lot to digest. And I'm gonna take my Knick hat out of it and put my independent basketball observer hat on and do it in this way. I think what you've seen from this series is, one, the depth that the Indiana Pacers bring. And it's not just Nesmith, it's not just Nemhard. It's not even just Halliburton. The depth pieces that the that the Indiana Pacers have brought in this series, from Siakam in game 2 dominating, and that was a great trade with Toronto. right? As the second
I wanted the
piece.
Knicks to trade for him at the time.
Well,
I remember that.
he's a great. I think he's a very good 2. But when you look at where, like, Tony Bradley, who had 3 points, had a +10 rating. Benedict Mathurin, who was a pass, and he got what's his name ejected from Cleveland in their series. Who was the player he got ejected?
That was Jerome. Ty Jerome, was it?
Possibly.
Yeah.
He had 20 points off the bench. None of this. I'm looking at the Pacers starters in Game 4. Siakam had a +9. Nesmith +20. Turner didn't have anything. Nembhard had a +3. Andrew Nembhard had 3 points in that game, and they still beat the Knicks by 9. Still scored 130 points. If you would have told me Andrew Nembhard was going to score 3 points and the Pacers would score 130 points, I'd say you're nuts. Halliburton had 32. Halliburton had triple-double. He had one. Tyrese Halliburton had one of the greatest playoff performances in that game you could possibly have. 32 points, 12 rebounds, and 15 assists. And I say to myself, and I look at Jalen Brunson had a -16 in that game. He had 31 points, 5 assists, 3 turnovers. You know how many turnovers Halliburton had? 0. Point guard. Point guard is supposed to lead the team and distribute the basketball as much as possible. And when we wanted Jalen Brunson to start shooting the ball more in the fourth quarter, for some reason, they kept running plays through Mikal Bridges. And I kept saying to myself, it doesn't make any sense to me. What also didn't make sense to me was why Mitchell Robinson only had 19 minutes in that game and Josh Hart had 36. That's the part where I say to myself, I don't understand the way the thought process of Tom Thibodeau is. Like, what was if you're gonna bench Josh Hart, okay? Why are you still giving him starter minutes? Josh Hart in this game had 5 turnovers. What gave him the right to start more or play more minutes? But I'm going to do something speedy. I'm going to get to my guy DeLon Wright.
Oh yeah, it's only a matter of time.
You know what he had in that game? He had a +11. You know how many minutes he played? 9. Landry Shamet had a +6. You know how many minutes he played? 11. But Josh Hart got 36 minutes for whatever reason. And it makes no sense to me why he's constantly getting more and more time when he's not a starter. He's not a starter. He's a 6th man off the bench. And tonight, I would imagine Mitchell Robinson is going to be starting again. But here's the problem, too, with the Knicks. The turnovers killed them in this game. The turnovers were a disaster from start to finish. When you look, the Pacers had 11 turnovers. You want to know how many the Knicks had? 17. Do you know how many? It was crazy. And you know how many points the Knicks gave to the Pacers off those 17 turnovers? You want to know how many? 20. 20 points off of those turnovers. The Pacers had 29 assists. The Knicks had 17. Both of their free throw shooting was about the same. The field goal percentage was about 4% more 55% more for the Pacers. The Knicks shot a better 3-point percentage. Look at the fast break points, 22-9 in favor of the Pacers. There's your issue. There's your problem. The lack of ball movement that the New York Knicks have not been able to show is a disaster. And it's coming head on. And that's the part to me that frustrates any Knicks fan. There's no creativity. There's no innovation with his play calling. Everything is just, let's run it through Jalen and go from there. And I got to tell you, I had Jalen Brunson before this series as a superstar in this league. Do I still think he's a superstar in this league? I don't know anymore. I got Tyrese Halliburton running circles around him in this series. It's horrible. And all you had to see was in the first quarter, Brunson's dribbling the ball up the court, right? And Halliburton just comes up right behind him and steals the ball. And that was it. And I said to myself, this is the series. And we're going to go, and listen, that game 1, it was bad. That changed the whole direction of the series. I look back. If you want to talk about recency bias, go back to 2015 with the Mets against the Royals in that World Series.
Yeah.
If Familia doesn't give up that home run to Alex Gordon and the Mets win game 1, that series could be a whole different. Go to the Yankees series last year against the Dodgers. I mean, any moron could have told you it was a terrible move by Aaron Boone to bring Nestor Cortez in against Freddie Freeman. The guy hadn't pitched in 3 months, but let's bring him in. And he gives up a bomb on the first pitch. And that changed the whole complexion of that series. Done. And what I've now seen from all of my sports teams is this. I've seen Lucas Duda throw balls away in the World Series. I've seen the Jets blow a 17-point lead against the Indianapolis Colts in the AFC Championship game. I've seen the Rangers blow back-to-back 3-goal leads in the Stanley Cup. And now I've seen the Knicks blow a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter. I've seen Wisconsin blow a massive lead in the national championship in basketball. So while, everybody at this network sits here, not to call out Speedy or Arrow or Tommy or Aaron or anybody, but you guys have all seen your teams win championships. You've seen them win. You've never, and it's not me here, sour grapes. It's me seeing my teams lose, but losing the biggest games possible in the worst way possible. I've seen it all now. The Knicks were the only team I never saw lose a big game. They completed the circle. So to me, that's the sad part. And I look to myself and I say, because I had a vibe after game 1 when they lost that game. We talked about it on the show last week with Eric. I was screaming my lungs out.
Eric with all his silver linings.
I mean, it was ridiculous. There were no silver linings. It was a joke. I love Eric, but it was a joke. There were no silver linings. But then you had a little bit of hope in game 3, right? They go on the road. They come back from 20 down. They win again. And then game 4 happens on Tuesday, and you're just like, ugh. That's it. Now, I think the Knicks will win the game tonight. I could be wrong, though. They're 3-5 3-6 at the Garden in the playoffs. But I do think the Knicks will win tonight, and I think they will lose game 6 in Indiana. That is what I think will happen. I wouldn't be shocked if Indiana went to the Garden tonight and said, hey, listen, Oklahoma City won. We want to match them, have the same time off. Let's end this. And then you got the whole Karl Anthony Towns situation where he is the knee contusion. He's questionable. He is going to play. We know he's going to play. How healthy he's going to be, I have no idea. He already stinks defensively. Yeah. Now he's essentially playing on one leg. My thought process is you're going to tell within the first 2 or 3 minutes of this game how Towns is moving. If he can't move, he can't play. Give you Speedy might remember this prime example: 2015 Rangers Eastern Conference Finals against Minnesota. Ryan McDonough has a broken foot.
Yeah,
they iced the foot before the game. They don't dress an extra defenseman. They play McDonough. I thought it was a bad move at the time. They played him. He played for what, 3 minutes of the game, and he was out for the rest of the game, and the Rangers were short 5 men.
And it seemed like he
defensively.
was everything we heard. He was going to play normal minutes.
Yeah,
so.
no, he played 3 minutes, and he was done for the game, and that was it. And that was it.
Great job, Vino.
Well, this is the same situation. And the question everybody's asking is, the Knicks lose tonight? We've heard Sham Sherrod say this is going to be the most intriguing offseason possibly in NBA history, not from all the free agency, but of all the superstar trades that won out. With Giannis, Kevin Durant, there's even a possible rumor that LaMelo Ball might even ask out of Charlotte.
Yeah, I can see that.
Superstars are going to want out. It wouldn't shock, I want to know what happens. Does San Antonio try to get somebody with their draft picks? Because, is De'Aaron Fox, I believe he's a free agent?
I don't think they locked him up yet.
No. So, interesting things that are going to happen. And Brian Windhorst keeps saying it constantly and constantly and constantly over and over and over again. He has said it again today. Do not count out the Knicks or the Celtics for Giannis. But here's what it takes. Giannis to tell the Bucks organization, I want to play in New York. Can you get me to the Knicks? That's all it takes. And if you're the Knicks, you offer Karl-Anthony Towns. You offer draft picks. You have the first from Washington. You have 3 first-round picks, actually, you can offer. You can offer Deuce McBride. If you want to offer Tyler Kolek. And then what you do is, so you trade that for Giannis, right? And then maybe you trade Mitchell Robinson for depth pieces. And you go that route. And you do that. And the reason why I think a guy like, the reason why Giannis, I think, as a superstar, and you could tell me if I'm wrong, Speedy, and Tommy, you're here too. If you want to chime in, that's okay. Listen, it's an open show, open-ended. Giannis is the superstar that will work with Brunson because Giannis will not need the ball in his hands. Giannis is a very good two-way player. He doesn't shoot the three. He doesn't need the ball to go to the rim every single time. He plays off the ball very well. Karl-Anthony Towns is a ball-dominant player. Jalen Brunson is a ball-dominant player. You mesh those two together. Now, they got to the conference finals. It's an amazing feat that they even got here with the team that they have, considering the ups and downs and the roller coaster rides that we've seen from them this season. But Giannis is not a ball-dominant ball hog. He will play off the ball very well and not complain. I only want Giannis here because he didn't punch Tyrese Halliburton's father in the face when he should have. That was amazing. If you could handle that kind of patience, imagine how much he'll thrive in New York with their market and no fans. But to me, Giannis, I think, would thrive with Jalen Brunson. They tried it with Lillard. Obviously, Dame wasn't the same. And I love Dame Lillard, one of my favorite players in NBA history. Love Dame. He just didn't work because the injuries caught up to him. He got older, and he put all of his time in Portland. And it was too little too late by the time he got to Milwaukee, and that was the end of it. But again, the problem with Dame is he's like Brunson. He's a ball-dominant player that didn't share the ball that much, but I think it was more injuries. That was the killer with him. I think if he was healthy, Lillard, it would have been fine, but the defensive structure with him is not great. If you had Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby with Giannis, that's great defense. How are you going to get – how can anybody not see that's great? But my other question is with Tom Thibodeau is, if they lose tonight, do we start to have questions about Tom Thibodeau? And I'll give my father's listening. Shout out to Nelson. He's listening.
Snug misses him.
I'm going to give him the credit for tonight. I'm going to give him the credit when he said this. You can't fire Tibbs. And the reason being is because the Knicks had so much, the environment, right, was so hostile and just awful, right, for so many years. It was a toxic place. Tibbs comes in here and gets them to the postseason every single year, pretty much, except for 1 year. who are you replacing him with that's going to be better? And do you really think Mike Malone is that much of an upgrade over Tom Thibodeau? If it was Eric Spoelstra, yes. But do we really think that Mike Malone is that much of an upgrade over Tom Thibodeau? And then what's going to happen is if it doesn't work out with Malone, now you're having another revolving door of coaches again. Now, I'm all for getting rid of Tibbs. I think Johnny Bryant is the guy I would look at. I've said this time and time again. Johnny Bryant was the Knicks' top assistant and was their defensive coach behind Tibbs. He left for the same position in Cleveland. And I want to know why he took that job. Also, I think Tibbs should have been fired 2 years ago after they lost to Miami. Because they should have been that Miami Heat team too. Yes or no? They were the home team in that series. They should have won that series.
8 seed.
They should have won. And Jimmy Butler ran circles around his former coach. Kenny Atkinson was there for the taking. I went to Kenny Atkinson the first time around over Tibbs. Some people here at this network, we're not going to say names, wanted Tibbs. Yes or no? I wanted Atkinson. I wanted Atkinson again. And the Knicks still had Tibbs. Now we all want Kenny Atkinson, but he's not around anymore. There's your problem. Now you're looking to scramble to find a head coach that you better hope you hit on. And I've heard the names, maybe bring Jeff Van Gundy back. He was on the bench for a year. I just don't know if Van Gundy would take the job because he's very close with Tibbs, that it would be kind of like a slap in the face to Tibbs. I don't know what the Knicks are going to do. Tibbs is best friends with Leon Rose. The infrastructure that the Knicks have in place is very good. My issue that I have with Tibbs is, of course, his rotation, lack of creativity, and just why have guys like OG and even Bridges regress defensively this year? Why has that happened? Why has that been a consistent problem? And what stinks is the Knicks team. Here's the thing. This is the same Pacers team as last year, by the way. You can make the case. Look at all the injuries the Knicks had last year. They lost to OG. Robinson was out in game 1. Durant didn't play. That Knicks team was worse last year. Yet they got to 7 games. Why this year is it possible 5 games and we're done? Why? What happened? I just need to know everything behind what is going on with this team. Because you could blame the coaching all you want. The 17-point lead is gone because of the players. It's not the coach. You can blame Tibbs for a lot of things, right? Speedy, we could agree. That's not on Tibbs. That's on the players for blowing a 17-point lead. He had everybody in there that should have been in there, except for Brunson coming in with 5 minutes to go. That was bad. But to me, it didn't. You could blame all you want. Now, I think Tibbs, again, I wish Greg Popovich was 10 years younger.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I'd hire him. I wish Larry Brown was able to, not fall asleep before 5:30 and everything of that nature. I feel if you're going to replace him, please make sure you have the right right coach in place. I don't think Mike Malone moves the needle. He's won a championship. That's good. But Mike Malone also comes off a guy that's going to be a real douche in New York with the media because he didn't get along great with the media in Denver. Do you think he's going to get along well here? That's my concern. And by the way, I do not want Stan Van Gundy as the head coach. I can't listen to him. It's like listening to scratching on a chalkboard. And everything like that. Now, I know that my mom is saying this, but we know where the words are coming from. So if he wants to call in, you tell him to call in. The issue is, again, yeah, I know it is. No, I know it is.
You're not that stealth, Nelson.
But if he wants to, if my father wants to call in, he could gladly call, and I'd love to have this conversation with him. Speedy, can we take a quick break for a quick sec? Is that cool? We take a quick break for a minute.
Sounds good.
Just what I feel I need to towel off after the situation.
Alrighty.
That was a lot. When we come back, we're gonna get more into this NBA conversation. We're gonna get into the NHL. Are the Florida Panthers a dynasty? Now that they've gone to their third Stanley Cup in a row, and what was Stefon Diggs thinking? I will tell you this. It wasn't a bad job he was on the boat with the women. I'll tell you what he was holding that made it a bad job. We'll be right back here on Game On.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi, I'd like to report a bear hug.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Well, we were building a bonfire, and I saw some, dry brush and leaves around, so, I said to move the bonfire somewhere else, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear shows up and hugs me.
So you noticed some wildfire hazards and moved your bonfire to a safer location.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Smokey, all right. He likes it when people help prevent wildfires. It hits him close to home. Not everybody gets the hug, my friend. So that's pretty special to get a hug from Smokey Bear.
So it was him. Hey, guys, I told you it was Smokey.
Okay, well, congratulations, my friend. And thanks for calling. There are many ways to prevent a wildfire. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. Waking up every day, lifting him from the bed to the wheelchair to the car to get him to therapy on time, it's no small task between the doctors and the diagnosis, but nothing can disable this love. This is my big brother, my hero. He's part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. See, there's no time for tired. This starts again tomorrow. He'll be waiting for me. I wake up for him. I know he needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community, or call 877-333-5885. Caregiving Resource Center. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Game on! Game on!
We're back. You're listening to Game On with Josh Silverberg.
Yeah. Speedy did that on purpose.
You know it.
Yes, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. 631-672-3108 is the number to call. Really quick, because I believe he is going to call in. I know he is. Yes, I'm feeling fine, everybody. Just tired. That's all. Long week at work. Short week. We're almost at summertime, though.
I believe we have him.
He's on.
Yes, we have a caller. All right, who we got?
Speak, will you? Hello.
Hello.
Oh, are you going to say anything?
I didn't know if I was on yet. I didn't get past two.
No. You're on. And by the way, before you begin, I didn't say trade Robinson in the trade too. I said if you get Giannis, you would trade Robinson for depth pieces around the team.
All right. So even so, if you trade Towns and who was the other player?
I said they would trade Towns, McBride, possibly Kolek, and they have 3 first-round picks they could do. But Milwaukee doesn't want first-round picks because they don't have, because they don't have any of their own picks. They want players that are ready to come in and can produce.
Okay, so how does that make the Knicks a better team?
Because what they'll do is they could get Giannis, number one. You'll still have OG and Bridges with Brunson, and you could trade you could trade Robinson for the depth pieces that you can get. Maybe you could get a nice second-tier center. And
Robinson is a second-tier center.
No, but you could get another one.
I understand, but I just think trading.
And also, Giannis is not a you've told me this too. Giannis is not a ball dominant player.
I know, but that's the problem.
No, that's the solution because Brunson will have the ball.
I know, but do you really want to continue this offense going next year with Brunson holding the ball?
You're not going to have a choice.
Why?
He's the face of the franchise. You're not going to have a choice. He's not going. He's not going anywhere.
Is Halliburton the face of the franchise?
Yes.
I mean, so it works. If you're the face of the franchise and change the offense, you can still be the face of the franchise and still be more, just better distributor of the ball. You don't have to be the pig.
The pig. I like it. Speedy like that one. The pig.
But what I'm saying is that, I think instead of.
I know you don't like Brunson very much, so it's fine.
No, I don't dislike him, but I think I don't want to broaden it, but
you don't want to broaden it, no pun intended.
No, not broaden it, but I always feel that New York always turns very good players into superstars because that's what they want to have. You know what I mean? Like we only have one superstar in this city, and Aaron Judge is a superstar. Everybody else is not superstars. That's the truth. So, but to get back to the basketball, instead of firing Tibbs, I think they have to revamp the coaching staff. The under Tibbs, and they have to get better offensive minds.
Well, there's one guy that's not going to go. There's one guy that's not going to go.
Yeah, I understand.
And by the way, I think he is a problem.
He might be a problem.
I think he is a problem. I think Rick Brunson is a massive problem. He has no right to be the second guy under Tom Thibodeau. None.
Well, that's. I don't know how that dynamic works, but I know that what
Snug, he's literally making the same points that I'm making. So what is the strong point? He's literally making the same points that I'm making.
Well, everybody says fire Tibbs, and I'm saying just get better offensive coaches under Tibbs and try to revamp the offense. I don't think you have to turn over the roster that much, and it's kind of upsetting that now that they're in the biggest game of the year, that all the rotations are changing all of a sudden.
Yeah, which is something that he should have done. He should have done that a while ago.
But fine. But now all of a sudden he's flailing.
He should have played my favorite player a lot more.
Right, that's fine.
You know who that is. You know who my favorite player is.
Yeah.
I'm his agent.
What's his? Yeah, I know.
You know he was a plus 11 in the last game, right?
Oh my God.
I'm just saying. He was.
The point is, you want to know the truth? The longer you're on the court, the more chance you're going to be a negative if you're a Knick. So let's leave it at that.
Well, then how was he a positive? Well, here's my issue. Why is it that if you're going to bench Josh Hart, why is Josh Hart playing 36 minutes and getting starter minutes, though?
Did Josh Hart start all year long?
Yes, but you shouldn't have.
So
yes.
This isn't the time to be playing. It's like there's a limit to what you could do at this time. You're not going to go and revamp the whole starting lineup and everything.
Okay.
I mean, these guys have played together. I agree with you. It might be more effective having different starters in or different mixes in, but this isn't the time to do it.
Snug, what to you is digestible? The other thing you digest is cupcakes all the time. What is digestible? Like, there's nothing digestible. Anyway. Sorry, Dad, you were saying.
That's all right.
I don't know.
I just think they're limited. What they can do, they're very limited.
So you don't want Giannis. So Giannis to you would not want.
I think they need a better offensive mix. I don't think Giannis brings in a better.
You know who you sound like? You sound like you might like who Arrow wants for the Knicks. Devin Booker.
You want to know who they should bring in next year?
Oh boy, Julius Randle.
No, they should move Brunson to off guard and hope Kolek is good.
I think the problem is with Brunson, he's too small to play the two. That's the problem. He's too small to play the two.
It doesn't matter. The one and the two are the same. It doesn't matter.
Do you really think that Tibbs is going to trust Kolek to run the offense next year?
Hey, look, he's on the team. He's the second.
That don't mean anything. He's not going. Brunson is the one that's never going to change. It will not change.
The question is, what do I think they should do?
Yes, of course.
Not what I think they will do. What they will do is probably nothing different. Just,
I don't know about that.
change something in the
Everybody has been saying, from Shams to Windhorst, they're saying, and even Stephen A. Smith has said it now too. Giannis to the Knicks is a very real possibility.
Fine, but they're all chasing dreams at this point. There's no reason
But why?
now.
But
Right now,
why
they
is
think
it
it's
chasing
going to
dreams if
happen.
they have the pieces and the assets in place to do it? Why is it chasing dreams? Why would all it takes is for Giannis to all say, "I'll go play for the
Right.
Knicks," and that's the end of it, and the conversation's
No.
done.
No, Giannis has to say, "I only want to play for the Knicks."
I don't think he would say that. What I have,
That's what he has to say.
what I have heard is he doesn't want to play for Miami because he doesn't like the infrastructure with Pat Riley running the team.
Well, that's fine, but I'm saying any team could come up with a great package for Giannis, right? But for him to come to the Knicks, he would almost have to say, "I want to play for the Knicks."
But also,
period.
are the Knicks going to offer, or any of the teams going to offer a talent like Karl Anthony Towns
For
in a
Giannis? Yeah,
trade
of
for
course.
Giannis?
Yes,
Will they?
yes,
Who?
yeah, of
Who
course.
can the Brooklyn Nets offer? Other than draft picks?
The Knicks can offer like 20 draft picks.
They
I
don't want
know.
the draft. They don't. The ownership has already come out and said that if they trade Giannis, they
know.
don't want the draft picks. They want
I
to win
understand.
now.
But I'm saying is that
He's
in the
never not going to
NBA
Sacramento. That's where everybody goes to die, Snug. No offense.
The NBA isn't like other leagues. The NBA is a players' league.
I know it is. Trust me.
The players say where they want to go, and then the team works out the trade. That's how it works in the NBA. So let's see where Giannis says he wants to go, and then if that comes out that he says he wants to play for the Knicks, then they'll definitely be able to work out a trade. My point is that this team is desperate for offense, a good offensive mix. And I don't know if Giannis brings that. Giannis is a phenomenal player. I mean, I'm not even going to argue, but he's a different player than Towns. He brings different things. I mean, Towns is an all-star too. He's not a stiff.
No, I know he's not, but the problem with him is I
it's
think he's a
like-
very inconsistent, very soft-minded, ball-dominant player.
Hey,
And
look,
you clearly
he's a-
see, I'm telling you, you're going to see tonight, with this knee contusion, the first few minutes of this game, if he can't move laterally, he cannot play long. He will not play
If
long.
he's hurt, he's hurt. I mean, I can't argue about somebody's hurt.
No,
But
I
I'm
understand
not
that,
gonna-
but he's always
But
getting
he
hurt.
brings things to the table. He brings things that the Knicks need. There's just not enough of There's not enough talent.
But he doesn't make up for the defense. That's the problem. Because the problem is when you have a Brunson and a Towns both out there, you're essentially playing 5-on-3 on the other end of the court. And what I want to know is why has Anunoby and Bridges and Hart, even to an extent, why has the defense regressed this year compared to last year, where OG was an all-world defensive player? Bridges has always been a great two-way player. Why has the defense completely regressed this year? Like, it's eye-opening to watch Anunoby get walloped in this playoffs defensively.
I will say this. They haven't regressed, but they have never played well against very good teams this year. That as a team this year, like the Celtics swamped them. I mean, good teams just beat up on them, basically, and they just beat up on everybody else. That was the Knicks season this year. But I'm not going to argue, game by game. But what I'm saying is they have a very good team. And people are ragging on this team just because they might not make it to the finals. They have a very good team. They're probably not ever going to be good enough to win the championship with this roster.
Of course not.
But the point is, like, there's not a lot of places you could go to make the roster better unless you change the philosophy of the offense. And that's what they have to do. Like, to me, Indianapolis, the Pacers the Knicks probably have a better starting five than
They do
the
have a better starting
Pacers
five
do.
than the Pacers do. They
Right.
do.
But the style of offense leads the Pacers to play better basketball. They get much better looks. The Knicks are scurrying all over the place. They have to cover for these two not terrible. I would say, like, Brunson's a terrible defensive player. Towns is a bad defensive player. So I'll leave it at that. One's much worse than the other. So everybody's covering for these guys, and it's a problem. I don't know how they solve this right now.
My last. No, go on.
You got to play them. I mean,
I know
play.
you don't have a choice. I was going to ask you, do you I never got to talk to you about the Met game the night. I know they won, but the Soto base running thing, was that Soto's fault or was that Brandon Nimmo's fault?
Oh, it was. You want to know what's funny? I actually thought the issue was the second base umpire.
He didn't signal it in time.
That the first base umpire signaled that it was not a catch, but Soto was already well past that, and he didn't get a call from anybody else.
No, he didn't.
So he ran. He was already between second and first. The second base umpire made no call. He looked at the play off the bat, and he probably said, "Oh, it's probably going to be a catch." So he really was a no man's land. I actually thought the third base coach should have been calling the play for Soto.
We should talk about the Braves one that ended the
I'm
game
talking
against the
about the
Padres.
catch no catch.
Oh my god, the Braves one was bad to end the game, where the guy he didn't catch it, where he didn't catch the ball. And the guy in the Braves thought he did, and he.
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
Man. And then last thing, did you see the Stefon Diggs thing with the Trucy stuff, with the crack and the marijuana and the cocaine mixing together on the boat? Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
It was fascinating. I got to, well, we're gonna get to that now. I was telling you what, you're gonna want to listen. It was fascinating. I think he made the right move going with the girls on the boat, but I don't think he made the right move taking the drugs.
All right, I'll let you guys go.
All right, thanks, Dad. Talk to you later, man.
Thanks for listening. Bye, guys.
Nelson Silverberg, ladies and gentlemen, insightful.
A triumphant return.
I gotta tell you that Juan Soto thing was interesting because there was no signal by the umpire right away.
Yeah, they must have the amateur umpires do the White Sox games.
The Braves one was a bad one.
I didn't see the Braves.
Oh god, the guy got the hit on the Braves and he was going backwards. I was like, "What are you doing?" But if you didn't see the video, it is, I believe it's called Trucy, where I believe it's crack and what did I say it was? It was crack and oh god, what is it? I can't remember what it's called.
What's it? Trucy was the name
It's
of the
called
drug?
The drug.
Okay.
It's like let me see, Trucy drug. I'm gonna look this up. But Stefon Diggs had it on the boat. It's called 2C. It contains a mix. It's pink dye powder. It's got crack cocaine in it. And if you see the video, now Stefon Diggs, by the way, listen, good for him. He was on the boat with a bunch of good-looking women, So.
Oh, 2C.
Yeah. My opinion on the whole thing. And
yeah, the DEA website just calls it pink cocaine.
It's literally, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So he was, I believe, one of the only guys that did not show up to the Patriots volunteer workout. He was on a boat with Cardi B, who he's dating, and he's talking to all these women. And next thing you know, a pink substance in a bag comes out. And I said, "What is that?" And then the video came out, and somebody wrote, "It's 2C, which is mostly in Florida. And it's a cocaine."
So I found another more detailed of it. So it's a mixture of cocaine, ketamine, MDMA, and methamphetamine.
That sounds unbelievable. That sounds like a trip for 2 weeks. Yeah. That's like a trip into the Atlantic Ocean. You're never coming back.
Yeah.
But he just signed with the Patriots. You're not at volunteer workouts. And you're doing basically cocaine on a boat. And you're getting caught with it on video. And Mike Vrabel had to address it. And he said, we have to talk to Stefon about it. My thought process is I think this is going to cost him. Because he's going to get drug tested now when he shows up. And it's going to come up positive. Am I right or am I wrong?
Uh-huh.
So how do you come back from this? It's got like oxy. Look, it's got oxy in it. Holy God.
Yeah, that's quite a fusion.
That's a fusion, all right. Sounds like a party on a Saturday night if Errol was DJing. That's what it sounds like.
Errol would never party with Stefon Diggs.
No, I don't think so either. But I tell you what, if he's at the party, you might see him with a pink bag. But I tell you, man, when I saw that video pop up, and I said, good for him with the girls, bad part on him seeing the drugs. Let's see before we go. congrats to the Florida Panthers. As I said before the postseason started, Panthers are going to go to the Stanley Cup and win again. They're going to keep that team for Nico Mikkola. Looks fantastic.
Oh, does he ever?
He looks like a stud Victor Hedman. And the Rangers did not know how to develop him. What else is new? Sorry, Speedy.
Yeah, I'm aware.
But what's his name? Who spoke out for the honors today?
The Darch, the DMG.
Darch spoke out. They're keeping Patrick Watt and they're firing the whole coaching staff. And they said they will not trade the number 1 pick unless he gets his socks knocked off. So, good for them on that. Everything like that. But, be it as it may, I think the Florida Panthers, I think it's going to be Panthers-Oilers again. We'll see if the Oilers they lost Hyman for the rest of the playoffs, which is a killer.
Yeah.
And Florida's got the rest now. Who has home ice if there goes Edmonton, Florida?
That's a good question. I think it's Edmonton. But I know Dallas definitely does.
Yeah, Dallas is losing. I think Dallas was in Dallas tonight, the game 5.
Yeah, game 5's in Dallas.
They'll win tonight, Dallas, and they'll lose in game 6.
So Florida had 98 in the regular season.
Everybody's going to keep their season alive.
Edmonton had 101, so Edmonton would have home ice.
Oh, wow. Okay. We'll see what happens. Well, it is time for the Better Than That segment. Speedy, you want to start first?
All right, so we're bringing back one of the very random duels that was hypothetical duels going on last year. That was the whole Tyreek Hill and Noah Lyles saga. So Tyreek Hill brings it back and says he doesn't want to play flag football in the 2028 Olympics. He wants to go into track. And he brought back, obviously, the saga of him racing Noah Lyles, who was the fastest man in the world type thing. And he still thinks that he could beat him. And meanwhile, Tyreek Hill at the time of that Olympics is going to be 34 years old, and Noah Lyles is going to be 27. So good luck with that, Tyreek. You're better than that.
My year better than that is I was trying to pinpoint where, I'd want to go with, because we talked about it a lot tonight on the show and everything of that nature. My year better than that segment, it really is fascinating. But to me, it is the way we're getting sound bites now. Look at Tommy stepping up there. My you're better than that segment has to be the start times of these playoffs. It is crazy that we're starting them at 8:00 at night. It's too late. I'm an old man. I'm tired. I like the 7:00 starts. And then it's amazing to me that the NBA also, another thing, why are we also not giving them anybody the extra day off? Why is it goes back day off? Like, why is it only back-to-back days off now? There's no more back-to-backs anymore. It's ridiculous. And then the NBA Finals don't start for another week and a half or whatever it is. Crazy.
June 5th.
This is ridiculous. NBA networks, you're better than that. Check out all of us here at the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. You can check us out on worldwidesportsradio.com, YouTube, Instagram, Periscope, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Job in the Mouth of their own TikTok. You can check out 103.9 FM, the LI News Radio Network, joining you every Saturday at 7:00 with Errol and Speedy. And, of course, Job in the Mouth coming up here at 7:30 with, of course, the whole gang. That would be Errol, Speedy, Tommy, Fish, Jabba. I'm sure. Is Goody on tonight?
I doubt it. He's going away.
He's going away. He'll come back another day. That's all right.
I think he's headed to the Dominican Republic or something.
Well, good for him. Let me tell you something. Get away for a little bit. I think Errol is going to be looking forward when he goes away, because this whole Nick thing is not good for his health. It's not good. It's not healthy. It's not. I'm worried about him, but we'll see. And everything like that. Thanks to my father, of course, for calling in. And to all the listeners out there. And you can check us out. Of course, Eric will be back next week. We will be probably sitting Shiva for the New York Knicks next Thursday. So that's what we will be doing. And then it's going to be more and more and more baseball conversation going on with the Mets and the Yankees and all the other baseball teams everything's going on. The Detroit Tigers are legit, man. They're real. You have a guy on the mound that could get you a win every game, that'll do it.
And the revelation of Javi Baez.
That's it, baby. Center field. Rocking and rolling. Gleyber Torres having a good season, too. But listen, the Yankees are having a great year, too. They're dominating. Interesting series with the Dodgers this weekend. Which, by the way, the fact that SMY or Yes didn't get any of the games last week or this weekend is horrible. Horrible. Because SNY and Yes have to sit through all the crappy games this year, but they don't get any of the best games. Apple TV, Fox, and ESPN. Well, we'll see what happens tonight. In the basketball, will the NBA Finals be set, or will the Knicks stave off elimination? And will the Stanley Cup Finals be set, or will the Edmonton Oilers go on to have their rematch for the second year in a row? Check out all that and so much more. Eric will be back next week. Speedy, thank you as always. Have a good show, everybody. Tommy in here. We'll talk to you next week. Enjoy your sports this week. This has been Josh Silberg live for Game On the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Peace.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.